As many of you know, I recently left my corporate job. I've been noticing placards on the side of the road advertising substitute teaching positions for the local school district, so I applied. The application process takes about 6 weeks, at least for me. I started on January 24th and I finished on March 13th. Fingerprint checks alone take about 2 weeks or longer if you've never taught in a school district before, so they advise you to get started on that first. There's no interview. You just apply online and the district's HR rep will send you an email. So I did that and I received an email with no less than 16 attachments, 1-6. So it's a very long job application. And all that includes your standard W-4, I-9, but also acknowledgments of district policy, acceptable use of school resources, disclosures and authorizations. And in addition, you have to be a New Jersey resident to work as a substitute in the state. There are non-refundable fees of about $200 out of pocket for background and fingerprint checks. So the aggregate is about $200, although the district does cover the Manteau test for tuberculosis. At least my district did. You just go to their health provider and they run the test for you. The job itself as a substitute teacher, at least where I'm at, pays $120 a day before taxes. So just doing the math, if it's $120 before taxes and you're taking home about $90 if you're in the 25% tax bracket. So recall our fees are about $200. So you need to teach at least 3 times at $90 a pop to make back your initial investment. And that's not counting your time. So just bear in mind, it is an investment. You don't want to lose money on this. All right, now that I'm approved, it's time to start subbing. For my district, they have a website where you log in and sign up for assignments. For one reason or another, most of the assignments were in early elementary school, grades 1 to 3. So that's been my experience, and that's what we'll talk about in this video. Although I did sub for kindergarten one time and a couple times in grades 4 and 5, and we'll get to that. The first day I did 3rd grade. They're sweet kids, honestly, and they were given written assignments for most of the day. However, the problem started when they asked me if they could work in groups or work on the rug. If you're a teacher, I can see you shaking your head right about now. And then nothing got done. They would just talk with each other or fool around on their Chromebooks. Fair warning. It's also important to note that at this age, kids are still learning morals and integrity, meaning that the kids will take advantage if they sense that you don't know common classroom or school procedures. For example, they told me we normally pack up at 3 o'clock, right, when it's not till 3:15. So everybody packed up and we sat around for 15 minutes. The second day, I taught 5th grade. And they had an extra recess during the first period, which was very generous of their regular teacher to do that. The kids had fun, a little too much fun, I think. 3 kids injured themselves and went to the nurse in the space of 45 minutes. So that was a little unusual. But otherwise, I taught math and the kids had written work. Teachers would rotate in and out throughout the day to teach special subjects. They call them specials, like foreign language. At this age, kids generally know what to do and where to go and what's acceptable. So I'll take a pause here. Up until now, I've told you about the negative aspects of substitute teaching, but there's one very positive example that I observed with this particular class. There was one student in particular who I'll describe in 2 words, kind and considerate. Notice I didn't say smart, I didn't say obedient. These are all positive things, but as I get older, I value having kindness and consideration for others above being smart or talented. It's just my opinion. So for whatever reason, this student was very emotionally mature with words and actions and hung out with what might be termed as the less popular kids. One example, when leaving the auditorium during an assembly. So for whatever reason, this student had to leave and everyone else is still watching the performance. The student made sure to close the door gently behind them to avoid disturbing the other students, when literally everyone else, teachers and students alike, just let the door slam behind them. It's a small example, I know, but it does showcase, at least in my mind, being very mindful towards others. And in reality, it is the small things that matter the most. Remember how I said earlier they had been actively advertising for substitutes? I think they got more interest than they expected. There weren't enough assignments to go around for a couple days, so when one opened up, I took it immediately. And it's important to note that when you're on the website, you aren't told which grades you're subbing for. It usually just says elementary school teacher. So when I walk into school the next day, the lady at the front desk tells me I'm subbing for kindergarten. And we all have a good laugh because I was surprised. Everyone was surprised when the paraprofessionals, the support teachers in that class, when they walked in, they literally told me they were expecting to see someone else. But anyway, at this age, kids are mostly learning basic skills like motor skills, speech pronunciation, and reading the weather. The most memorable thing that day was reading a picture book to them where you would read the page and then show the picture to the kids. So that took me back to my own elementary school years many, many years ago, almost 30 years ago now. So it has certainly come full circle. I had taken on substitute teaching to get more in-person contact after spending several years in a corporate role working remotely. And I found that some things don't change. There will always be difficult people, regardless of where you go, power-hungry people, dissatisfied people who have been in their jobs too long. But I've also found friendly and helpful people. And as a substitute teacher, that's really important because you're basically given a room number and a badge, and that's it. You're on your own with a classroom of 20 kids for the next 7 hours. So I deeply appreciate those friendly and helpful teachers who will check in with me in the morning to make sure I have all the lesson plans in order, or to help set up the smart board, or just to stop by and say hi. I've also had teachers stop in usually once a day to tell the kids to quiet down. There's definitely a disciplinary aspect of the job that I'm not cut out for. There's a large emphasis, I've noticed, on kids being quiet and obedient. There are several conditioning methods: bells, sing-alongs, hand signals, and of course, good old-fashioned scolding that teachers use to keep the kids quiet and to keep them in line. Quiet kids are seen as good kids. Maybe from an outsider's perspective, again, coming from a guy who does not have a degree in early elementary education, just my personal philosophy that kids of that age should be allowed to talk with each other and to communicate and build social skills. If the kids are too quiet, you're repressing their thoughts and emotions and expression. That opinion is through the lens of my own background. I was raised as a quiet, obedient kid. And whenever I see other quiet, obedient kids, I want to encourage them to socialize more, to speak more, to be more outgoing, and not just individual achievers. And that's important. One example was when the class was working on a word search. It's a very long word search. Yes, you had some very intelligent children working through each page quietly and diligently. Each of those children would start at number 1 and go through to number 10, and they'd do it all on their own. But at the back of the room was a group of kids who were working together. Right? You take number 5, I'll take number 7, he takes number 10, and they found the words faster and had a great team building experience as well. So here's my recommendation to teachers, to regular teachers that the substitute teachers are covering for. Kids need something to do to stay occupied. So in those lesson plans, don't just assign busy work, or worse, assign work that's already been done. The kids will very quickly get out of control and very antsy if they don't have anything to do. If there's nothing to do, just let them have an extra recess and everybody's happy. The sub is new and probably unfamiliar with your classroom. So the second thing is be very clear with directions. Really put yourself in the sub's shoes and think through every step, so the subs, like myself, won't get confused or worse, deliberately misled by students. And to the kids watching this, you may be thinking, Andrew doesn't like me. He doesn't say hi when he sees me. That's not true. I like you and I want to say hi to you, but I honestly don't remember your name. And I don't want to look dumb. I'm like Brad Pitt. I remember your face, but I can't remember your name. So mostly, I believe teachers will remember the troublemakers and the good kids. So if the teacher knows your name, you're exceptional one way or the other. I'll conclude by saying that I've gained a new appreciation for elementary school teachers. There's a general truism that teachers are the real superheroes, as quoted from Reddit. It would be remiss if I did not mention the support staff, of course. In my district, teachers have a very strong support staff, including administrators, counselors, nurses, secretaries, and the specialist teachers that we mentioned before, who teach gym, music, technology, foreign language, etc. In almost every single class I taught, at least one student went to the nurse's office on any given day. But if teachers are superheroes, I will say that subs are not far behind. We have pretty much 1 hour from the moment the kids come in to learning all their names, earning their respect, and catching up to where the kids are and learning and teaching the lesson plan. It is a lot of work, but there have been some interesting and amusing tidbits. Second graders know what uwu is, and they will say it nonstop for 20 minutes. Not just the girls, but the boys too. As a matter of fact, the boys are the ones who will start saying it first. And they have a deep fascination with farts and poop, which are just so funny. But when you get to the older kids, something I learned is that they still listen to Guns N' Roses, which is 80s rock, for those of you who aren't familiar, and Eminem, which is 90s rap. Those are all songs I used to listen to when I was a kid. So things really have come full circle. Who knew?